We are live. This is Attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. And I'm joined by three very special guests tonight. Miss Cassandra Woodard. How are you, Cassandra?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. And we also have Miss G, Georgette Truen. Miss G, how are you this evening?
I'm
I
doing
guess I guess that says it all, Cassandra. Hey, before we go any further, I want to tell the world, all 100 million Facebook viewers and 100 million YouTube viewers, Miss Georgette Truen works for the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and Associates. Georgette told me, and I don't know how or why people thought this, that people have been telling her, some people have been telling her that she doesn't work for me. Georgette works for me, and she works every day of the week for me, and she works very hard and very long hours. So just to dispel that notion to the billion people out there, Georgette Truen works for the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and Associates, headquartered in Arcadia, California. Okay, so we have, is it Miss Joe's?
Yes, Josie.
You said Josie?
Yes.
Hi, Josie. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Good. So, what state are you from?
I am from California, Orange
Oh,
County, California.
okay. So you're local.
Yes.
So I gather you're on the show, and you made arrangements with Grace, our producer, to be on tonight. Okay, so
What?
you're local.
Yes.
So I gather you're on the show, and made arrangements with Grace, our producer, to be on tonight. Okay, so you're local.
Yes.
So I gather you're on the show, and I think we're having some technical difficulties. So, Josie, I don't know if you can hear me, but you can't be playing another version of the stream and be on the stream at the same time. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you're local. So tell me your story about CPS and Josie.
Okay. So my story begins with my daughter placed her son, her oldest son, in our care back in 2017. My grandson was only about 5 years old at the time. My daughter couldn't care for him because she was having difficulties. And my husband and I agreed to care for my grandson. So years went by. I cared for him, enrolled them in school, had caregiver affidavits. I had a letter from my daughter agreeing for us to care for him, take him to medical doctor's appointments, everything. Um, Everything was fine. My grandson was enrolled since preschool. I enrolled them since preschool up until third grade. He qualified for an IEP, and I was also his educational rights holder. So I would handle all that, take care of all his needs. And my daughter will occasionally visit or call him, see how he's doing. Time goes by, we're fine, we're happy. Almost 4 years go by. She decided to have another child. Back in 2019, she had another child, January of 2019. She was incarcerated. So I got a call from her saying if I would agree to take the baby in our care since I already had her other son. We agreed without a doubt. Um, we picked up the baby from the hospital when he was about, I'd say, 2 days old. She continued to be incarcerated during that time. Um, we found out my grandson was born with club feet. So we immediately got him care. He came home to live with us. We were happy family. Got him care under met for medical. Started his club feet therapy. My grandson did outstanding. He bypassed all his goals. Um, his club feet. We made so much progress. My grandson started walking. Everything was going good with my grandson. My daughter decided to leave him in our care, being that I was already caring for the oldest, doing IEPs, doing good. My grandson was happy. The second one was happy. So when she got out of jail, she wrote another letter saying she's in agreement to leave both of them in our care. So life goes on. We've continued with my grandson's care. I took him to all his doctor appointments. They were raised like both of them were raised like our own kids instead of our grandkids. So time goes by. My grandson begins to walk. Um, we're living happy. Once again, my daughter decides to have another child. Now we're on the third one. This took place in March 31st, 2020. So I get another call. I had no idea she was having another child till almost she was about to give birth. We get a call again saying CPS was involved. And if I would agree to take the baby in our care, being that I already had the other two. Once again, I agreed without a doubt. But it was a little hard at first because we already had two. So I had to speak to my husband. We talked about it, discussed it. Um, at first, we didn't want no involvement with CPS, being that we already had the other two. We've heard horror stories. So we agreed. We had no idea they were going to do what they did. So they pressured us pretty much. Um, Please take the babies. That way they could be raised together and this and that. The worker was just on us. It kept going on and please take the baby. You guys will make good parents for him. And they made everything in the book and we agreed. So we picked up the baby when he was about 7 days old. He was placed in our care. Um, Things were going good. All of a sudden, I want to mention prior to us picking up the baby, the social worker that went to see my daughter in the hospital called us and said she heard that we had my daughter's other two children. I said, yes, we do. We have the other two, but they're fine. They're happy. My daughter don't live here. And I don't want no involvement with you guys with my grandkids. She said, well, guess what? You're now involved with CPS because they are the mother's children and you have to let us in your home. I said, well, why do I have to let you in my home? My grandkids are not living with the mom. They're placed in my care by the mother. They're happy, they're healthy, and they're doing fine. She said, well, because they're her children, you have to let me in your home to see and verify that the children are doing fine. It took me a while to agree because she threatened that if we did not allow her in our home, she was going to request for the court to remove the two boys from our care. So I said, okay, my husband and I said, okay, let's let her in, and let's show her how the kids are living. She came in, saw the kids, was in here for about at least 2 hours in our home. She saw where the kids slept, all food, clothing. She wrote a big report showing that the kids were happy. They had a place to sleep, that our home was clean, the best placement for the kids. And she left. We pick up the baby on March 31st. We bring him home. Actually, not March 31st. He was born that day. We picked him up April 9th. So he comes to live with us. Social services comes and tells us we have to file for RFA. I said, I don't want to foster my grandkids. I want to do guardianship. I've been telling everybody from day one that I want to do guardianship. She said, no, you cannot do guardianship. You have to do RFA. If you don't do RFA, we're going to have to remove the kids. Again, we agreed. Everything was, they ran our background. They discovered everything from our background, which we have some stuff on there from over 14 years ago. Everything has been expunged. Um, there's nothing serious that puts the kids in danger. So they ran our background. Everything was good. Social worker said everything's fine. Don't have nothing to worry about. We have people with worse cases than yours that that are RFA approved. So don't worry about it. Okay, we said fine. Um, when the baby was placed in our care, they were already aware of everything in our background. So they knew everything. It was like they had this planned already. Let's put these kids here and we're going to come for them later. So everything, we run our background. We're getting approved for RFA. We did all the programs to get qualified for RFA. Everything went good. We passed, completed everything. They did a DAP where they come in and make a room. We had to put up a curtain to block the room for where the kids slept because we made our living room into a room for them. So we passed that. Everything was fine. Everything was going good. We were about to get RFA approved. The kids remained in our care from April 9th up until December 17th. Suddenly, we're getting denied RFA. We're getting close to the permanency, which was February the 7th of 2021. And now we're in December. So we're getting close to that. Social services already been calling me, telling me, do I want to do guardianship or do I want to adopt? I said, I'd rather do guardianship because I don't want my daughter's rights terminated. And she said, well, the courts prefer adoption. So if you're not going to adopt them, then there's going to be a problem. So I said, well, I would rather do guardianship and do the kinship care. And she said, no, the courts prefer adoption. After that call, she started finding anything that she could get on us to get the kids out of our care. She started asking me, has RFA called you and told you that you're going to be denied? Have they called you and told you this and this and that? I said, they haven't told me anything. All I know is that I'm about to be approved. And I don't know where you're getting that I'm being denied. December 15th, we get a call from RFA. We're being denied for our background that they knew about when they placed the kids. So we're like in shock. Okay, we were okay for placement when you guys put the baby here, but now we're not okay. So we're denied. 2 days later, 12/17, social services says they're coming for the kids. 12/17, I get a call that they're going to pick the boys up. I said, I'm not releasing my babies to anybody. So she came to our home, said that we have to let her take the kids because we were denied RFA. I said, but there's no danger. The kids are not in danger. They're not abused. They're not neglected. We don't have nothing with you guys. You guys have never had anything bad on us. No abuse, no neglect, no problems, no nothing. My kids have been fine this entire 9 months. And suddenly we're in danger to the kids. And she said, no, we need to remove them simply because you got denied RFA. So she shows up to her home. We're on the gate talking back and forth. I'm not giving you the kids. She says, if you give us the kids after a while, I said, no, you're going to have to call the police because I need somebody to show proof that where I'm releasing the kids to you guys, I need a court order. She said, I have a court order, but I cannot show you. I said, well, you need to show me something. How do I know that they're going with you guys? What proof do I have that there's a court order? She says, there's a court order, ma'am. And I said, well, then you need to call the police. So the police were called out. Police showed up. Police asked them for a court order of removal. The worker told them, I cannot show you that. It's due to privacy issues, we cannot share that, not even with the police department. So the police department said, okay, if you cannot show us any order, we're not going to be part of this removal. And on top of that, if they're going to be removed, we need to have a sergeant here. So if you're not going to show us the court order, we're going to step aside and just stand here to make sure that everything goes okay. So police remained here, but they were not part of the removal. They told them that they couldn't be part of the removal. So she got us, she lied to us, made us change our mind and hand over the kids. She says that if you let us take the kids, we will do the RFA for your boys, your 2 adult kids. We'll get them approved and we'll place the kids with them right away. So that's the reason we let them take the kids, because they promised they were going to let them, my boys, because my boys have never been in trouble with the law. They work, hardworking boys. They both own their homes, and they've never had backgrounds with the law, never. So that's why we agreed. We let the kids go, and my kids right away got the application, went online the same day. They were already applying for RFA, getting their background, their life scan, everything, getting it completed so they can get emergency placement. So when that came up, my son started calling them, asking them, why can't the kids be placed on emergency till we get RFA approved? They said that no longer is available. There's no such thing as emergency placement anymore. They've been removed through your mom. So now we need to get you guys approved in order to place the kids in your care. They ignored my boys. One of them lives in Riverside County. So they ignored them. They weren't not contacting them. My boys were contacting left and right. They ignored them. They made my son do the RFA process here. And then they made him, after he did everything and was ready to be processed, they said, oh, guess what? You have to go apply in your own county because you live in Riverside County. That was after the social worker had already drove to Riverside and did a home assessment, passing my son for the home assessment. But this children's social worker refused to place the kids in their care because she figured I was going to be around them. And she didn't want no family to be around the kids. On 12, after the removal on 12,
Josie, hold on a second. Hold on
okay,
a second. I have a question to ask you.
sure.
And mark your place where you left off. I think you were going to start in December.
Okay.
Did you ever have a lawyer representing you during this process?
No. I did contact your office, and I believe Miss G, I believe, told us by phone not to give the kids over and to hire an attorney. And
That that would
but
be the right advice.
we did not follow because we didn't have the funding for an attorney. So we got scared right away because the things we were being told. And we believed them. Once they removed the kids, we believed they were going to place them in our kids' care.
Okay.
And it never
So
took place.
okay, so start in December. What happened in December?
Okay. So December 7, after they removed them, December 20th, we found out there was no court order. They were barely filing an ex parte with the court. We barely recently, a couple months ago, saw that ex parte that my daughter got her records, and the judge never agreed to that. The judge said he would consider it. He signed it and said, I will consider it, but he never agreed to it. All the attorneys signed, uh, we object to the removal from our care. All of them signed object to removal. The kid's attorney not only objected to the removal, she said, I object to the removal. It's not in the children's best interest to remove from our care. And for the agency to provide us, the maternal family, with as much visits as possible for the children. They didn't follow through with that. We only were allowed to visit the kids 20 minutes every other week, which was only 40 minutes in an entire month.
Josie, let me ask you something. This happened when? December of 2021?
2020.
Okay, keep going.
So then 2021, we find out the reason why she didn't want to place the kids with our sons, because she had placed the kids in a foster to adopt home on 12/21, the day after she filed the ex parte. We were told after 3 days, if there's no placement, they were supposed to return the kids to our care. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we were told. Well, she rushed to place the kids in a foster to adopt home on 12/21. Immediately, those people started. They're a single couple with no kids. They've both been married 3 times each. Each of the parents have been married 3 times. We're like, how can they make these people adopt 3 children when they can't even hold a marriage? But yet they're trying to adopt 3 children. Um, right away, they started talking bad that the grandparents are not good parents. When the kids rolled up to our house, they didn't know how to read, and that my grandson didn't know how to eat with a fork, and all this bad stuff, trying to make us look bad, like the bad people. Yeah, because obviously they want to adopt the kids. A month later, they were already discussing my daughter's rights weren't even terminated yet. They were already discussing adoption when my daughter's rights were still intact. They hadn't been taken her rights yet. So all that happens, all that takes place. And then after that, let me see here. So everything takes place. I filed an objection for removal. So I had an attorney for that. But it was not a CPS attorney. And I hear you all the time that it has to be. I didn't know this until after I've been watching your videos, that it has to be a CPS attorney. She was an attorney that does other things. She's not just a CPS attorney. So she did the objection to removal. We went to court. Probably, I would say March, April of 2021. We started going to court. It took maybe 3, 4, 5 times. We had to go back because of COVID, and the judge didn't have time, or they kept resetting the court dates. Um, Things went through okay. My attorney fought for us. The judge, I have notes because I'm hearing impaired, so I get transcripts. Um, the judge had told the other attorney for SSA, I don't see no evidence here that puts the family in danger. And, he said, the law says that we need to put them with family. So I don't see no evidence to hold the kids from being placed with the grandparents. Their attorney went off, started saying all this stuff that we weren't providing the social worker with all the information she needed, and that it was just even the judge kept telling her, wait, slow down, slow down. You're going too fast. You're talking things that are not making sense here. And she kept bringing the RFA, Your Honor, they're not RFA approved. And the judge said, we're not here. I can still place the kids with them, regardless if they're RFA approved or not. So let's bring that matter out of this. I'm not here to discuss RFA is a different thing. So he made them stop talking about the RFA process. They started bringing up my background. He also told them, we're not here to discuss her background. I've looked at the records. Those things are too old to even bring into play right now. So we're going to leave that out too. So what made the judge, he was going to place the kids back in our care. What made him change was astounding, because suddenly he said he was going to place the kids in our care, but because CPS and I were not able to get along. So he says things like this happen all the time, where CPS and the families can't seem to get along. So I'm going to have to deny placement back in your care. We're like, it didn't make sense, because we're like, he's basing it off us getting along with CPS, but what does that have to do with the children's best interest? So he denied that. We filed, Attorney Davis, we filed 3 times for de facto parent status, and all 3 were denied.
Okay, hold
But
on. Did you appeal the judge's decision, yes or no?
yes,
Okay. Is the appeal still going on?
it took about a year, and they made a decision based on, it also looked very good with them, our
Hold on,
case.
Josie, look, you're not answering my question. Is the appeal going on, yes or no?
No,
Okay. Did you lose the appeal?
yes,
Okay. Did you appeal it further to the California Supreme Court?
no, because I didn't know how to do it.
Okay. Did you ever file for something called presumed parent status?
No, because I didn't know what to do after that, after it was denied based on a recommendation or something like that. I don't know what.
Have you ever heard me talk about filing a complaint with the Department of Health and Human Services or
I
the
I
or the
hear
court?
you say that all the time. I've tried to go on there and file that, but I'm having trouble understanding how to do it. It seems like every time I try to do it, I don't have the knowledge on how to do that. So not that I give up, because right now we're still in the RFA process. I appealed my RFA too. So that's another thing that's going through right now, and that social services has told me numerous times after I met with them to keep going, that if it's, they made it sound to me like if I get RFA approved, they will return the kids. That's how they made it sound to me, but they're not. So
Josie,
yes.
you need to call your lawyer and
Okay.
tell him or her to immediately file a petition for presumed parent status for you and your husband.
Resume parent status. Okay.
Hopefully your attorney will know what that is. If he or
Okay.
she doesn't, tell them to call me.
Attorney Davis, the thing is, I don't have an attorney right now. I have the attorney that's helping for the RFA is pro bono, through a new way of life. So they're helping me right now, and she says that she found out that not only did they use, she said, not only did I, because we're on the RFA process right now, and because they're trying to use records that have been sealed, my attorney asked for time to look this over, and she recently emailed me saying not only were they not supposed to use those sealed records, but they should have never used them to determine your RFA.
Okay. So can you ask this attorney to help you file a petition for presumed parent status?
I can ask, but I think she mentioned to me that her expertise are RFA and helping other cases that don't pertain. Actually, she's even telling me, I'm helping you in your case right now. It's a difficult case, but little by little, I'm finding out things that they did wrong. And they're doing some type of paperwork right now where they are going to, both attorneys are going to do some type, I forgot the name of the papers. They're going to file both of them, and they're going to submit it to the judge, and then the judge is going to set up another hearing for the RFA to continue. So I can ask her if she can do that for me. But other than that, I don't have the funds for hiring an attorney right now. I'm disabled. I'm hearing impaired, so I'm on disability for life. My husband's the only one that works, so funding for hiring an attorney has been what has stalled this out, because I mean, our case is very unique. I know that everybody has a unique case, but I feel like they took our grandkids when there was no abuse, no neglect, no nothing, all because of RFA. That was the only thing, the only reason why our grandkids were removed. So right now we're just on stall on waiting to see what happens with the RFA, and hoping that we can do something about this.
Okay, did you write that down to talk to your attorney about filing the presumed parent status motions?
Yes, I wrote that down. I'm going to ask her. I'll give her a call tomorrow and ask her if, I do want to mention I did file a 388 not long ago, and the judge found it to be prima facie, where I had a good case, I guess that means, or I don't know what exactly, but I did it myself. Like I hear you say all the time, don't do it yourself because you don't know what you're doing. And I took it upon myself. I'm going to do this. I went and did it, thinking I have a prima facie case. I'm going to go and speak for myself. And what I didn't do is I didn't take the evidence and give it to them when I filed the case. I thought that when I went to court, the judge was going to allow me to present the evidence there and then. That's not how it works. I was supposed to present it when I filed the 388, and I didn't do that. So the judge obviously denied my case to go forward to hearing, because that hearing was to see if I had evidence to move forward with the hearing. But
So
he
why
said
don't why don't you just do this? Why don't you refile it with the evidence?
I did that. Mr. Davis, I did refile again, and I submitted a stack of evidence. But another mistake I made is I took the evidence, but I didn't get stamped. I didn't note down every single page that I put. I gave him a stack, probably this big, but it didn't show page per page of what I was giving them. So somewhere along the line, all that paperwork that I submitted, they probably trashed it because I didn't submit um what I was submitting, like number it and say this is what I'm putting here, here, and here. I didn't put that. I just handed them the stack of evidence, thinking, oh, the judge is going to get this. Well, the judge got it, and it was received the day before the kids were going to go to an, I think, this 12th month hearing, and I got a letter in the mail saying that I didn't have enough evidence to file that second 388.
Did you file appeals on both of those 388s?
Nope. I didn't know I can do that at the
If
time
it
when I,
hasn't been 60 days, you should do that tomorrow
okay. I think on both, I think it might have been past those 60 days.
for both of them.
I believe so, Attorney Davis. Let me grab a paper and see if, let me check the date. Give me 1 second.
While she's going to look, ladies, I want to say something. This is why I tell people, don't try to do this yourself, because you're going to have one shot, and if you screw it up, you're just going to be lost.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, the last one was filed March 25th,
When was it denied?
2022. It says the request does not state new evidence or change of circumstances.
When was that dated by the judge?
It was dated 3/25/22. It's been a while.
Yeah. The only thing that you could do is to refile the 388, make some changes to it, and file at the same time your motion for presumed parent status. Have the parental rights of the parents been terminated yet?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Her rights were terminated on July 7th of 2021.
Okay. July 7th?
Yes, July 7th of 2021.
That's my birthday, July 7th.
Oh, wow. Yes, that's the day.
Josie, you're going to need some help. Have your attorney call me,
Okay.
and I will assist her. And I can even send examples of the petition for presumed parent status and examples of what I would consider really good 388s that
388.
that might get you a hearing. Okay?
Yeah, because I know, honestly, I believe in myself that I know I have a good case. These people pretty much, they ran me over, and they said a bunch of lies about us in court, that I wasn't giving her the information for the kids, that I wasn't giving her monthly updates on milestones. And then it's weird because suddenly I'm reading through the papers and it shows the social worker testified that she was able to get everything from me. So I'm like, how did they get away with so much? They even filed, actually, I wanted to tell you this, that the social worker that first came out, she told the court that the kids were removed from my daughter, not from my care. So when she had the baby, the last baby, when that lady came, told me that I had a letter in my home to see the kids, she wrote a good report saying the kids were happy, safe, but she went and told the court that the kids were taken from the mother, not from the grandmother. They were removed from the mother, all three, because she was homeless. And she was not homeless because she's been living with my mother since she was 15 years old. She has never been homeless. And they also told the court that we had a CFT meeting on April 3rd. We never had such a CFT meeting. They told the court that my daughter, myself, a social worker, and the social worker that first came to my house, that we all had a CFT meeting on April 1st, 2 days before the hearing that was taking place on April 3rd. We never had that meeting. I told my daughter, they said this to the court that we had a CFT meeting. That never took place because I'm already hearing and I need accommodations in order to have a meeting like that. So we did not have that. They also, what they did is my daughter went to court on April 3rd. Her paperwork says April 3rd. They weren't letting people in the court because of COVID. So they told her the court was postponed until May 24th, the following month. So they told her she needs to go home because the court was postponed. She got the paperwork 2 days later saying that hearing on April 3rd took place without her. They told the judge that she did not show up, and
Was
I
that
was there
hold
with
on,
her.
hold on. Was that April of 2020 or 2021?
2020. Wait, yeah, that was the first hearings from when they took the baby, the detention hearing. So that day, I went to court with my daughter on April 1st of 2020. Um, and they told my daughter that the hearing was postponed, but she's got the papers showing that that court took place, that they did have a hearing on April 3rd. And they said that mother was not a no-show. And that's not true because I was there with her. She got the paperwork and they crossed out April 3rd and they put May 24th and told her to come back in May. So they
Okay,
had that hearing.
hold on a second. Cassandra, what do you
Yes.
think about this situation?
I think it's a bunch of crap, but like it's way out. Like it's everything that Miss G says all the time. Like I hear stories like this from her all the time, from her calls that she has, and it's sad that they do this to grandparents and parents and
Okay, Miss
you know.
G, what do you think?
I had the opportunity to speak with our guest, and like I told her, CPS is full of shit. Number one. Number two, they oftentimes tell you guys to show up, leave, and come back, and that happens from court appointed attorneys as well. But then they're telling you to leave so that way they can make you look like a no-show. This happens in every state in the United States. I get people showing me videos they were in court and showing me text messages of their court appointed attorneys who told them to leave, telling them that they didn't show up.
Yeah.
And, a lot of, oftentimes I hear from people, sometimes I hear from people that not all of them are bad. My opinion, states otherwise because they're full of shit. They lie, they manipulate. And when they tell you that if you want to adopt, and then you say, no, I don't want to adopt, I want to have legal guardianship or what have you, then they see that as a negative. Why? Because they see that you're not going to make them money. Pretty much.
Exactly.
Now, what people don't understand is that the incentives that Bill Clinton put in place, and I did read it very carefully, is when the children are placed in a non-family member home, meaning the child has to be placed in a foster home in order for them to get the bonuses and the incentives that they get. However, they do, give you the false hope that they want to place the children with you, but guess what? They really were not going to place the children with you, because oftentimes they will tell the family member to become foster parents. Why? So they can control them, so they can recycle these kids. If they forget to fill out the yearly or annually paper, God forbid, they come back and remove the children. There's a lot of shit that they do. They use a demonic strategy, and I've been telling you guys this for years. They use a demonic strategy. That demonic strategy is to trick you guys, get you guys to believe a certain thing. Well, they're already 20 steps ahead of you. And when they know that you can't afford an attorney, guess what? They take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, the first thing they ask you, can you afford an attorney? Can you afford an attorney? And God forbid, if you say you can't afford an attorney, you're shit. They're going to use you. They're going to abuse you. They're going to toss you. They're going to, they're going to do the worst thing possible to you. So oftentimes when they say they're aiming towards reunification, well, that's bullshit. You know how many people said that to me? And then they call me back and say, oh, Miss G, that was a lie. We have a lady that was going to hire us. And, the court appointed attorney give her some bunch of bullshit. Well, guess what? Her reunification was supposed to be a month ago.
Yes.
And there is no reunification. There's adoption now.
Exactly.
Okay. So you guys need to keep in mind that these mother F's lie. They go to the same school. They freaking lie. If they're legit social workers that really care, compassion, heart, common sense, etc., they wouldn't do that. The ones that see the corruption leave. The ones that see the corruption and stays are the ones who want to actually deal with the corruption. They want to do that.
Yes.
It's either you have dignity or you don't. You can't have both. They lie. They lie 100% in every state in the United States of America. So there is a lot of stuff that I shared with you guys before about that lady that was caught, the social worker that was caught telling a 14-year-old to become a prostitute. Okay, that's number one. That was all over the news. Number two, a social worker gets 5 years in prison. Okay, 5 years in prison, sentence for lying about child abuse in court. She reported child abuse. There was no child abuse. The child was 3 years old. This happened in Florida, Anderson County. If she has gone to trial, she would have gotten 20 years. But because she didn't, she only got 5 years. The judge ordered that she serves her sentence in Kentucky, where the crime happened. She was in Kentucky when it happened, then she, went to Florida. And it was 5 years. 5 years. Remember, 5 years to me is not enough for committing such a crime, because you lied under oath, right? To make sure these children are removed, or the child is removed. So there was a psychiatrist that was talking about this, and she said that this psychiatrist was in New York, and she said removing a child from parents interferes from brain development and causes mental health problems in childhood, often waking up crying in the middle of the night, crying for mommy, and suffers anxiety, depression. And you know what CPS does? Medicate the child or the
Yes.
children.
Yes.
Medicate the children, give them medication to keep them silent. This is not healthy. This is the United States making fucking money for your children and everybody else's child. This is exactly what they do. Money. That's all they want. Incentive, bonuses. So which child are we going to remove? When it's a baby, they make more money because, like I said to you guys before, adoptive foster home and a foster home. And these two are different homes. So when they put the child in an adoptive foster home, there you go. They're not going to reunify you with that child. Period.
Josie, Josie,
Yes.
did you want to say something?
Yes. So I wanted to mention that we did have finally a first CFT meeting in June of 2020. That meeting took place and my daughter showed up. It was a phone call. She told them that she wanted to know what she could do to help us get guardianship, or what could she do to sign over her rights so that we can adopt them, the kids. They told her you cannot do nothing anymore because the kids are under court or court supervision now. My daughter says, "What do you mean? I still have my rights. Why can't I sign over my rights to my parents so they can take over the kids?" They said, "No, you cannot do that." So we requested a copy of that the notes from that meeting, and nowhere on the notes does it say that my daughter requested to information about guardianship or about signing over her rights. They left all that out. It
Mhm.
was that we just talked about the kids, how they're doing, but nothing that my daughter said was put on those notes. They left all that out. And my daughter kept telling them, "I need to know what I can do because I'm not ready to reunify. I want my parents to adopt the kids. I want to know what I could do to sign over my rights to my parents now." Nope, they did not do that. They did not do no time of permanency. They're supposed to do that in case reunification fails. They never did anything. They kept us in the dark until the end. They did not want us to do guardianship, nothing. That way, they were the whole time, it seems like they were working to terminate the rights, because once they do that, we're no longer nobody either. So let's work on this. Let's keep the kids in grandma's care. Work, go months doing all this process with the courts. They told me and my husband that we were banned from going to court. We were not allowed to show up to the court. Only the mom and dad were there. But we still went. We were there and we signed up with the court telling them we're here for the court. Not once did they call us into the court. My daughter was never allowed to testify and tell the judge she wanted the kids in our care. When we went to the point to six hearing to request for the kids to be placed back in our care, we were denied. We were told that we were not welcome in the court. We kept asking all the attorneys, "Can you please tell the judge that we're present?" "No, we're not your attorney. We cannot talk to you. So you're not even supposed to be here. Only the parents are supposed to be here." They completely banned us from going to court. They told us that we were not welcome from day one when we went for the kids the first time to tell them that the kids were in our care. They banned us. They told the judge that the kids were removed from my daughter and taken to Orangewood. The kids never went to Orangewood. The kids were in our care.
Mhm.
All these lies that we are finding out that the agency put on paper to the court, saying that the kids were removed from the mother, not from grandparents. So
Okay.
the judge never knew the kids were in our care for almost 5 years.
Hold on. That's why I said you and your attorney have to file the petition for presumed parent status.
Okay.
Ladies, we're running out of time. Josie, I would love to have your attorney call me. I want to
Okay.
thank you very much for appearing this evening and sharing your story. Hopefully, I can help your attorney try to turn this around.
Even
Mr.
that, your attorney Davis, will do what we can to see if what we can do to hire you, because I know that
Well,
we got a
hold on,
case,
hold
even if
on.
it's a case to sue them for violating our rights.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. I'm really looking to help you and your attorney, so please have that attorney call me. Miss Cassandra, I'm sorry we're running out of time. Thank you for being on the show again. I appreciate it. You know, we were talking about CPS in the news all over the country, and every night I'd like you to talk about a show, not a show, talk about a news story involving CPS. All right. So
Okay.
it could be like the current events kind of thing. Miss G, thank you for being on the show. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it. And everyone, again, Miss G does work for me. I guess some people thought Miss G didn't work for me. Miss G is an works for me at the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and Associates, with our main office in Arcadia. We represent people all over the state of California, and if appropriate, we even go to other states in the United States. So I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Miss Josie, I can't wait to hear from you and your attorney. Good night, all.
Thank you. Thank you.